Hello, Winda.
Halo,
Hi,
hai.
hello, Winda. Yes.
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you.
Good ya. Itu tadi terdengar suaranya.
Yep,
Oke, are you ready for present?
yep, I'm ready. Yes.
Oke, the time is yours.
All right, thank you.
Please.
Is my audio good? You can hear me well?
Yes, good, good. Okay.
All right. Okay, let me share my screen first.
Halo semuanya, selamat siang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat datang para Sobat Tiara, praktisi reliability Indonesia. Kami hadir kembali di webinar kali ini dengan topik AMS Aset Monitor yang akan disampaikan oleh Bapak Mohamed Adib Mustafah sebagai Regional Sales Manager Emerson, dan tentunya bersama saya sebagai moderator Winda Rahmasari sebagai Reliability Teknologi Sales. Oh ya, webinar kali ini kita akan bagikan e-wallet untuk 4 peserta beruntung yang akan diundi secara di spin wheel. 4 partisipan beruntung ini untuk 2 peserta aktif yang bertanya dan 2 lagi peserta untuk yang mengisi link feedback survei yang akan dikirim oleh panitia yang akan dikirim di kolom chat Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Jadi peraturannya untuk webinar kali ini, jika Bapak atau Ibu ingin bertanya, silakan saja langsung bisa dituliskan di kolom chat. Nanti akan saya bacakan pada sesi Q&A di akhir setelah speaker selesai membacakan presentasinya. Atau bisa juga nanti Bapak Ibu gunakan raise hand untuk bertanya secara langsung, secara live dengan menggunakan aktifkan kamera dan audio. Nanti saya akan memilih dan peserta yang bertanya diharapkan mengaktifkan kameranya dan audio sesuai dengan arahan saya ya. Oke, baik, sebelum masuk ke main topik, izinkan saya untuk sedikit mempresentasikan company profile terlebih dahulu ya, Bapak Ibu. Ya, panitia sudah terlihat slide saya. Oke, langsung saja izin memberikan
kemarin lagi buang. Tak bilang dulu.
pembukaan ya Pak ya, terkait Tiara Vibrasi Pratama yang tentu saja visi misi kami ingin selalu memberikan solusi terbaik dan terpercaya dengan mengoptimalkan teknologi, kompetensi, dan proses bisnis untuk meningkatkan kinerja aset. Dan kami juga ingin selalu membantu penerapan proses manajemen dalam unit Bapak, aset Bapak untuk memberikan yang terbaik. Tentu saja tidak lupa kami juga selalu ingin memberikan layanan pelatihan, coaching, dan mentoring terbaik yang didukung oleh engineer berpengalaman dan terampil. Dan kami juga ingin selalu memastikan teknologi-teknologi yang Bapak butuhkan digunakan secara optimal di semua proses yang mendukung kinerja kehandalan aset. Dan ini merupakan Tiara milestone yang dimana kami berdiri pada tahun 1995 yang dimulai dengan PDM Teknologi Provider. Lalu di tahun 2001 kami menambah lini proses bisnis kami dengan menambahkan Condition Monitoring Services dan PDM Coaching. Lalu di 2004 kami menambah lagi Pak dengan lini bisnis yaitu Plant Maintenance Optimization Consultancy. Lalu di 2008 kami melaunching Asset Management Transformation. Di 2009 kami melaunching kembali Electrical PDM Technology Provider. Common Electrical Services juga kami tambah lagi di tahun 2014 melaunching mentoring consulting. Lalu di 2015 kami membuat sendiri beberapa software buatan Indonesia ya Pak ya, langsung dengan nama-nama yang tidak asing dengan makanan khas Indonesia, yaitu ada apem, boleng, combo, dan dawet. Mungkin nanti lebih lengkapnya di lain sesi lagi. Nah, di 2019 kami melaunching Tiara Kompetensi Center yang ada di Yogyakarta. Mungkin beberapa bapak-bapak di sini atau ibu yang pernah mengunjungi tempat kami divisi yang ada di Yogyakarta. Dan sampai saat ini, sampai sekarang kami terus melanjutkan improvement untuk memberikan the best solution untuk improve asset performance. Dan kami memiliki kompetensi of engineer banyak ya Pak ya. Salah satunya kami memiliki engineer kompetensi hingga vibration analysis hingga level 4. Total untuk yang vibration analysis kurang lebih kami memiliki ada 60 engineer. Lalu kami juga memiliki Certified Engineer Machinery Lubricant Analyst hingga level 2 dan 3. Kurang lebih untuk MLA kami memiliki Certified Engineer kurang lebih ada 8 orang. Lalu kami juga memiliki Certified Infrared Analyst hingga level 2, Ultrasound Analyst hingga level 2, Partial Discharge Analyst, dan Certified Reliability Engineer kurang lebih ada 10 orang. Seperti itu. Dan kami juga memiliki integrated condition monitoring teknologi dari berbagai macam teknologi ya Pak ya. Namun yang akan kita bahas pada siang hari ini adalah kita akan terfokus dengan AMS Asset Monitor. Oke. Kami juga selalu mengadakan setiap tahunnya Indonesia Reliability Forum, yang dimana merupakan tempat berkumpulnya dari reliability practitioner di seluruh Indonesia dengan berbagai macam bidang di setiap tahunnya, dan akan selalu kita agendakan Pak, dan mudah-mudahan tahun ini akan kita agendakan lagi mungkin sekitar bulan Oktober. Jadi persiapkan diri Anda untuk bisa mengikuti acara event ini yang kita namakan adalah Tiara Reliability User Conference. Dan ini merupakan our presence kami dari Sabang sampai Merauke dengan 3 lini bisnis, yaitu ada Reliability Management, Condition Management, dan Work Management. Dan tentu saja our clients kami dari berbagai macam bidang juga ya Pak ya. Ada PLN, ada Exxon Mobil, dan sebagainya. Oke, sekian dari perkenalan company profile dari saya. Lalu akan kita sambut speaker kita pada siang hari ini. Hai Adib.
Halo Winda.
Halo.
Hi,
Hi.
hello Winda. Yes.
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you.
Suaranya.
Yep.
Okay, are you ready for present?
Yep, I'm ready. Yes.
Okay. The time is yours.
All right, thank you.
Please.
Is my audio good? You can hear me well?
Yes, good, good. Okay.
All right. Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang and good afternoon to everybody. So yeah, I think we got a very good attendance today, yeah, Winda, almost 100%, yeah. So I'm very happy with the interest shown today from Indonesia. So yeah, my name is Adib Mustafah, as Winda already introduced. I'm based in Singapore, and I'm the sales manager for Emerson in our RS, or Reliability Solutions department, right? So this is my this is not the first time I'm talking on this webinar regarding this topic. So I'm not too sure whether any of you are repeat customers from the last talk we had in 2023. So but if you are, okay, so I hope this is a good refresher for you. Okay, so let me just give a introduction overview of what I plan to discuss today. And so these are the topics. Let me just spend some time to introduce to you again what we do in our reliability solutions portfolio in Emerson. What are the solutions? What are the products we have? And of course, you know, from PT Tiara, a lot of the solutions from PT Tiara, they are using our tools, right? Other than that, okay, then I'll go to the main topic to talk about asset monitor. As I mentioned, it's more of a refresher because this is the second time we're talking about it. The last webinar we had was 2023, almost 1.5 years ago. And other than that, of course, I want to introduce to you what's new in asset monitor since the last 1.5 years. What are the new developments, new features we have, right? And I'll also talk a bit about over the years, over the 2 years that we've been talking about asset monitor, we do encounter a lot of frequently asked questions or some specific applications. So I'll share this with you also today. What are these special applications? And last of all, of course, more success stories. We like to share again what are the customers that are already using our asset monitor and what are the results that they have. So we like to share this with you also today. And last of all, just a short topic here, just a bit of a sneak preview. We want to talk a bit about AMS Machine Works. So this is our next generation software, right? So just not so heavy on this software topic, but just to show a bit what is it all about, right? And of course, we're gonna have a Q&A, right, Winda? So feel free to ask as many questions as you can. I heard there's some vouchers, is it? You can get some rewards. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions, right? Okay, so let's start on the main topic. So before I go to the product, let me just again share with you what is the strategy that we are seeing today. What is Emerson working towards to help our customers manage their assets better? And a lot of it has to do with the current trend today, you know, digitalization or digital transformation, you know, Industry 4.0, IoT, and so on. So this is the current or traditional method. On the left side, you can see a lot of people in the customers in the process industry are practicing it this way, right? Maybe most of you, maybe I'm not too sure. I'm just guessing. For example, for your most critical assets, be it your compressors, your pumps, your turbines, for example, most of the time, for sure, you're already monitoring it online. So online meaning 24/7 continuous monitoring, right? And the remaining machines that are not so critical, which are majority of your machines in your plant, these are what we call essential assets, or sometimes people call it balance of plants. Most of the time, you're doing route monitoring or using portable, right? Portable data collection. You are collecting data once every 2-3 months, for example, and dumping the data on the software, and then looking at the trend and looking for some analysis from there, right? So this is a traditional way of monitoring your assets, right? When we're talking about digitalization or digital transformation, we want to achieve something more efficient. So here is what on the right side, what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to help our customers to achieve, right? So for the critical machines, okay, we do not touch that. Those are still important to monitor online. You need 24/7 monitoring, protection, and also maybe prediction. You have to have that on your machines, on your most critical assets. But for your essential assets over here, the majority of your machines, instead of portable monitoring, what we're trying to do is we want to go for automated monitoring, right? So what does automated monitoring means? It can be either be instead of manual that you're collecting data once every 2-3 months. We want to have a more consistent data and more frequent data, all right? Not 24/7, we're not necessarily 24/7 per second update rate, no, but at least something better, at least maybe once per hour, once per day, or something like that, all right? So, but the main thing is we are looking at doing automated monitoring for these machines, right? And the solution that you can use, the technology you can use, there are plenty in the market. Of course, a lot of people are talking about wireless, right? Wireless vibration, but I find wireless is still not so popular in Indonesia, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And other than that, you can also use something like an online monitoring system that we're going to talk about today, which is our asset monitor. But the bottom line is the objective of automated monitoring is we want these machines to be continuously monitored. And when there's an alarm, there's some asset health warning coming up. That is where you go out to the field with your portable analyzer to investigate further and confirm, okay, there is a problem on my machine, right? So that's not to say portable is not required anymore. It's still a very important tool. Of course, we love it if you have our AMS 2140, but if you have other analyzers, yes, it's still important. You still need it for root cause analysis. You still need it for corrective action. Sometimes you can use it for balancing, alignment, and so on, right? So portable analyzers is still important in this new strategy of asset health management, right? But instead of route by inspection, monitoring, taking data everywhere on all your machines, what we're doing now is routes by exception. So you're only taking data on those machines that are problematic, right? So that will improve your process. That will improve your asset health management strategy. Okay, so that's the whole idea. And we're also very careful to say that we are not here to replace your data collection team, right? that is still essential part of your maintenance, right? Collecting all this data. But what we're trying to achieve here is to improve on the efficiency, right? To improve. And of course, doing this, you can also improve on how you manage your workflow. How you integrate all this information, asset health strategy into your workflow. How it in the end. Yep. From the moment that the system detects unhealthy condition to the moment that the workflow is the management is done, as in the corrective action is done. So that where you can improve on the process, all right? If you have an automated monitoring system, right? So that's the strategy that we're going towards. And one of the key solutions, key product that we are promoting is our AMS Asset Monitor. Okay. Okay, so in Emerson, yeah, we have many solutions. We have many different products and software to help you monitor your asset. Of course, we have our online system, AMS 6500 ATG. This is for your most critical machines. And for your balance of plants, 2140 has been one of the most popular portable analyzers in the market. And other than using portable, some people use wireless. And of course, today we're going to talk about asset monitor, how this can actually help in your management of your asset health, right? And all these different solutions, online, wireless, portable, asset monitor, will go to a single software called AMS MachineWorks, right? So, okay, maybe you have some questions. You're not using MachineWorks, you're using Machinery Manager, right? So I'll talk about that later on, right? This is our newest software, okay? So this is the software that's used by the PDM team, by your Con1 team to do the analysis, to look at the spectrum, waveform, and so on. And on top of this, you can see there's another level of software called AMS Optics. So as I mentioned before earlier, how are you doing how are you integrating your technology into the workflow, right? From the moment the tool pick up a problem to the moment that you take action, how do you want to do that? So that's also a very important process. And one of the solutions that we can bring forward, we can share with you, is our AMS Optics that can actually help to integrate directly to your CMMS, SAP or Maximo, right? So for example, Asset Monitor picks up a bearing defect and then it goes to Optics. Optics will look at the data and automatically you can send a work order to replace, for example, replace bearing. You can send it to your CMMS, right? And one last thing, we also have this in the middle called Aspen MTEL. So this is a bit different. This is different from your normal condition monitoring software. MTEL is more AI ML software that looks at data. So you've heard a lot of AI these days, right? Machine learning software. So MTEL is our solution to provide this kind of technology, and it doesn't just look at your vibration data. It will also look at your process data. It can even look into your work order history from your CMMS, and from there it can generate logics or rules or what they call agents, and you can use these agents to predict further problem and so on, right? So one simple example that I usually get asked, how do I know how much longer can I run my machine before I need to stop it and do maintenance, right? Can AMS do it? Some people say, okay, you might be able to do it, but it will require a bit more analysis, right? It's not a direct output from AMS. That is what MTEL will do for you. MTEL can help you get this output easily. How much longer should I run my turbine? How much longer should I run my compressor before I should stop it and do maintenance? That's one result that you can get from MTEL, from machine learning, right? And of course, machine learning can also incorporate corrective action. What should you do next, right? So that's something EMS doesn't have, but in machine learning software, you can have it also, provided it can pull data out from your CMMS. Okay, so that's the complete portfolio that we have, from the hardware on this L0 and to the software, our machine work software, and all the way up to the higher level software called optics or MTEL for machine learning. All right, so that's everything we have in our RS portfolio.
Tadi di survei dan hasil mapping, terus
Oh, is there a question? Sorry.
No, Adib.
Okay, so yep. Okay, so that's the overview of our portfolio. If you have any questions, yeah, you can keep it till we finish our presentation. Okay, so let's go into the solution that we have today, our AMS Asset Monitor. So I just want to put it as a refresher because this is not the first time that we're talking about it. Hopefully, some of you remember what are the key features we have in our Asset Monitor. Okay. All right. So this is what our Asset Monitor is all about. Basically, it's a junction box, and inside that box we have some modules, and inside these modules we have some analytics embedded that can give you the output in terms of some common faults. So I'll explain later on what these faults are. Right. So you can see some pictures here. It's meant to be mounted in a field beside the machine, and then we have wired cables out to the bearings, right? Sensors here, right? So it's basically an online system and meant to be mounted in the field, right? So over the last 1.5 years, we have won a few more awards, right? It was voted in 2023 Product of the Year by Control Engineering magazine, right? And recently last year, it was also voted one of the best products in the pharmaceutical industry, right? So it's very interesting that Asset Monitor is being used in pharmaceutical, right? Where they produce medicines, vaccines, and so on, right? So those kind of industries are looking at asset management. Okay, so that's the a brief overview of what our Asset Monitor is all about. And let me just share a bit more details here. As I mentioned, the most exciting thing, the key point of this Asset Monitor is the embedded analytics inside, right? There's some rules embedded inside that can give you indication whether your machine is having any of these 10 common faults: imbalance, misalignment, looseness, blade pass, bearing defects, and so on, right? And it gives this output in a very easy to interpret format in terms of percentage score, right? So let me show you later on how the data is interpreted. Okay. Right. So as usual, yeah, you can find common faults on the pumps, on the motors, and so on, in terms of the imbalance, looseness, and so on. Right. So how does the asset health is displayed in asset monitor? So this is a simple HMI that you can get from a browser. All right. I'll talk more about the connectivity later on. For now, let me just share with you the screenshot of a typical layout of a output from an asset monitor, right? So measurements, you can still get measurements, of course. You can still get your overall vibration or temperature or whatever that you have. But what's more important is on this left side, the analytics, right? So as I mentioned, the 10 faults earlier, you can choose, you can customize what are the 10 faults you want to display. And the way that it display the data is very simple. 100% or in the green zone means it's healthy. So there's no indication that there's a problem. As the machine is running, if there's any fault developing, specifically for this case, there's some problem on the, for this case, there's already a major problem on the looseness. So you can see the looseness is already 0%. And when this happens, you can see a message pop up, all right? 0% looseness, critical. And it will also show, okay, which machine is it happening at, which bearing, and so on. So this is the way that our asset monitor helps to interpret the data for you, display the data for you easily in a browser, right? And of course, it will also tell you, oh, where's the problem happening, which bearing, and so on, right? So that's the whole. This one slide will be the only slide that I want you to remember. If out of this webinar, it's the most interesting thing about this asset monitor, right? Of course, you still have measurements, you still have trends, but looking at data, RMS, okay, is 12 mm per second. Is it high vibration or is it still acceptable? So that's why we come up with analytics for you, all right? Whether there's any problem already happening, whether it's still okay to keep running the machine. Okay, so that's the whole idea of asset monitor, and why we call it Edge Analytics again. I forgot to mention it earlier because it's mounted in the field beside the machine, and the analysis is done in the field. So that's why it's called Edge, right? You just, and what you're getting in your HMI, in your workstation, is the output itself, right? So very simple solution, but can be very useful as part of your maintenance strategy. Okay. So how does it do this? How does the asset monitor does all these analytics? Of course, that's for those experienced analysts. Okay, what we do is we set alarms, right? We set alarms based on ISO 10816, right? So we use ISO 10816 standard, right, to set up these alarms, right? Of course, you can also customize your own alarms. If you have your own, if you know your machine better, you can customize the alarms. And the analytics will be based on these alarms that you set, either from ISO or from your own customized alarms, right? Other than that, just for the bearing fault, we also use our own patented solution, which is PeakView and PeakView Plus. I'll talk more about this later on, right? So bearing we use more than ISO. We use our own PeakView, right? And so on. So these are the simple explanation of how the asset monitor analyze the data and come up with the indication of those faults, right? Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this is possible. We can do custom analytics alert setup, right? Basically, how tightly you want to set up the alarms for some particular machines if you're not okay with ISO standards. So that's what we are talking about here. But the analytics will still be the same 10 analytics. One common question we get asked: can we add on analytics? As a customer, can you configure your own analytics? The answer is no. Currently, we cannot do that because this is a closed box, right? So you can't do your own analytics, but on the existing analytics, you can set up your own alarms, right? So you might be able to, if you understand, if you have a history of your own machine, you want to set up alarms according to that database that you've collected, yeah, it's possible. Okay. Okay, so as I mentioned, also other than ISO, we also use PeakView and PeakView Plus specifically for bearing defect, right? I'm sure some of you, or I hope most of you already heard of PeakView. It's our own Emerson patented method for detecting very high frequency data, right? So basically, uh, it's a very useful data, especially for anti-friction bearings and gearbox failures, right? And we like to educate our customers to interpret the data easily using the zero principles. For example, if for a good machine, your peak view must be 0 or close to 0, right? And of course, the other thing is rule of tens. If you see your peak view going up in multiples of 10, okay, that shows some faults developing, right? So that's some of the sort of easier way lah to look at peak view, right? Of course, some of you are very advanced users. You can look at peak view waveform and spectrum and so on to do your own analysis, right? But these are more of a layman way of looking at peak view, right? So back to the original fault on bearing defect. We use peak view and also what we call peak view plus, right? So maybe some of you might not have heard of peak view plus. So what is peak view plus? Basically what we combine peak view together with correlation. So that's the simple explanation. So for example, maybe I can ask some of you what is correlation for, all right? Basically, correlation is indication of whether your vibration you're getting is random or whether it's very repeatable, right? So for example, if peak view is high and autocorrelation you're getting is high, it means that okay, the vibration you're getting is very repeatable. So the conclusion is it's a real bearing problem, right? So you get this kind of indication that okay, bearing defect is high, lubrication is low. Lubrication defect is low. On the other hand, if your peak view is high, but autocorrelation is low, it means that, okay, the vibration you're getting is very random. So it's a very high chance it's not a real bearing defect, but it's a lubrication defect, right? So this is a very simple explanation of what we do in PeakView Plus, and we use this to implement in the logic for bearing defect, right? So for your information, PeakView Plus is also available in the AMS 2140, right? So you can also get this kind of indication from 2140, right? So that's the idea of the analytics, and we use it for bearing defect, right? Basically, anti-friction bearing, and we can help differentiate basically whether the problem is real bearing problem or whether it's a lubrication issue, and you can just keep running the machine and lubricate it properly and so on. So it's a very important, useful information that you can have, that you can get easily, whether to keep running the machine or just lubricate it, or you have to stop it and investigate the mechanical defect in more detail, right? So that's one of the key points that we have in our AMS solutions, and basically PeakView and PeakView Plus is used for the bearing defect analytics. Okay. All right. So next, let me just again more of a refresher to run through what this asset monitor is all about. So as I mentioned, it's basically it's a box. It's a box that you see here, and you can see the certification IP66 NEMA 4X, and we have the necessary hazardous ratings because basically we want this to be installed next to the machine in the field, right? Operating temperature up to 55 degrees Celsius. It will require 24 volt DC to power up, right? And one thing not shown here, there is also a LED indication here. So whenever there's any fault, you can see this will be blinking, right? So that's some one simple design that was built in also, right? So what's inside this box? Basically, you have 12 channels, right? That you can configure any way you want, right? So what are the cuts that you can use? Okay, so among the 12 channels, you can either use all 12 for vibration. So when we talk about vibration, we can take in sensors from any type of sensors, either accelerometer, piezo velocity, If it's a sleeve bearing, we can also take in the eddy current sensors and so on, but we require a different card, right? If you have a variable speed machine, we can also take in a tachometer, either from a magnetic pickup, Hall effect, or eddy current. So this will use 3 different kind of cards: piezo, voltage, or tacho, right? Sometimes you might want to even monitor process data, especially temperature, right? You might want to know the temperature. We can take in temperature. Basically, we have these kind of cards. We have a RTD input, we have a thermocouple card, we have a 4 to 20 milliamp card, right? So all 3 cards you can use for to take in process data, right? But this process data will not be needed, will not be used for analytics. Analytics will only use these 3 cards, right? Other than that, we also have this DO. I'll talk more about it later on. It's a discrete output, right? So you can have a output to indicate something, either to trip the machine or so on, right? It's possible. And so that's the overview of this asset monitor. One box have 12 channels, right? So you can mix it up anywhere you want, and of course, one box you can take in more than one machine. For example, that's a typical motor pump, right? You want to monitor 2 sensors on the pump, 2 sensors on the motor, on the drive end, on the non-drive end. So one machine typically minimum you have 4 sensors. So one box you can monitor 3 machines. So that's a simple configuration, right? One box you can share it among 3 machines. Okay, so what are the types of sensors that we can take in? As I mentioned, the vibration charms, the modules, it depends on the sensors you have. So if you have accelerometers or velocity, you need to use a piezo charm or piezo module. If you have eddy current sensors, you will need to use a voltage module. If you have temperature sensors or other types of sensors for process data, you will need to use our RTD or thermocouple or process data input module, right? So very flexible, right? We have the flexibility to accept most sensors that's available in your machines, right? In terms of the hardware, okay, so one of the key features that we emphasize is it's meant to be easily installed. So we do provide mounting brackets for you to mount it this way. And it will come with cable lengths, of course. And this is optional. If you think that the heat from the sun might be too much, we can also put a shade to protect the asset monitor from direct sunlight, for example. And some of the accessories I'll talk about more later on. How do you get the data from asset monitor to your workstation, to your desktop, right? How do you want to see the data? So one of the ways we can do it is through a router. For this, I'll talk about it later on, okay? All right, other than that, okay, as I mentioned, it requires power supply. So we need a 24-volt DC. So you can use our own Emerson power supply, or you have your own power supply, you can still use it. It's not a must to get our Emerson power supply, right? And this type of rating, 3.8 amps, we can basically, one of this power supply, we can power up 3 boxes, 3 asset monitor, okay? Other than that, okay, as I mentioned earlier, for your variable fit drive, those machines that are not running at a consistent speed, you can also take in the speed sensors, right? So we can take in Hall effect sensors, magnetic pickups, or eddy current sensors for speed monitoring. So speed is of course very important when you want to do diagnostics, right? So same for the analytics. If the analytics gets the variable speed, the speed indication, okay, your output will of course be more accurate, right? Okay, and last of all, you can see what is this guardian support in the middle, right? So this is basically something like a buying an insurance policy for your asset, for your asset monitor. So for example, if you want to protect your asset monitor from damage, from or wear and tear, you can buy this guardian support that will provide you free repairs within 1 year and so on. Other than that, it also provides you firmware updates, right? So firmware updates are important also. I'll talk about it later on, because we are continuously updating, enhancing this product. So if you buy it today and then 1-2 years later, Emerson comes up with a new firmware that has some new capabilities, you can get those firmware and just download it into your asset monitor, right? If you have Guardian. So that's what you get out of our Guardian support. Okay, in terms of the connectivity, as I mentioned, one simple way to connect to, because as you know, this asset monitor are typically in the field, right? So how do you get this data to your workstation, to your office, right? One way is, of course, we can use a router, right? So we put a wireless router here, and from your own office, you can as long as you can get connectivity to the Wi-Fi network, yeah, then you can easily access the data. The traditional way is, of course, okay, you have to lay cables, basically Ethernet. If it's within 100 meters, Ethernet is okay, LAN cable is okay. If it's more than 100 meters, yeah, you'll have to lay fiber optic cables. Okay, so that's the different ways of connectivity, right? Okay, in terms of the configuration, as I shown you earlier, the HMI that you get from your web browser, that's a free software. You don't have to buy any licenses, and that software is also used to configure the asset monitor, right? So this is one of the what is called Asset Studio interface, right? So this is what you get when you open up the software, and there's nothing to install basically. It's just a web browser, right? So you key in your IP address of the asset monitor and connect, and you're connected to the box. And one of the information you're getting is this, right? Basically, you get all the information to configure first, how to configure the cards, and what to show, what are the analytics you want, and so on. So overall, you'll get a display of your asset status, and you can also get a display of your charm status or the modules. What is the health of the modules itself? And you can, and there's also a bit of database inside the box. You can see health trend here, right? So that's also available inside the box. Okay, apparently up to 10 years. So that's quite a lot of data you can get from the asset monitor. Okay, so how do you configure? Okay. Sorry, I think I missed one slide here. Let me. Okay, so how do you get the analytics? Of course, you have to configure it first. You have to configure the machines, and the first step is to pick up the asset, right? So we have these templates available in the asset monitor itself: fans, motors, gearbox, pump, and so on. And the alarms you want to set, you can use ISO, or you can, if you recall earlier, as I mentioned, you can customize your own alarms to set up the analytics, right? And as I mentioned also, that we are always upgrading it. We are always improving the product. And one of the enhancements that we made is, of course, we added new templates, right? As you can see here, okay, one of the newer templates, one of the newer assets are generators, and then we have more complex gearbox, double reduction, triple reduction. And we even have wind turbines, right? Maybe not so relevant for Indonesia, but yeah, we do have wind turbines as well, right? Okay, so other than next step, once you configure the asset template, you will also have to configure the bearings. So it's similar to what you're doing for your portable monitoring program. You have to set up the machine first, and then in each machine you have to set up the bearings and so on. So same case here. In each of the machine, in each of the template assets configured, you have to configure the bearing. So we do have a bearing database as well in the asset monitor, asset studio. So you can choose from here what are the bearings that you're using, and easily configure it. If, of course, if there's your bearing is not in our library, you have to set up a custom bearing and key in your own database from there, right? So this is, as you know, this is needed to find out all the analytics, right? All the BPFO, BPFI, inner bearing defect, and so on. And another enhancement, another configuration support that we made is now we are able to support slip bearings, right? So we can take in eddy current sensors and so on, right? So you can also choose the sleeve type, right? In the asset. Okay. the bearing type, I mean. Okay, another configuration you can do is you can also set up predicates, right? So predicates are basically simple logics, right? So you want to tell the asset monitor, analyze the data only if these conditions are met. For example, only if vibration is high or only if the speed is this speed, then do the analytics for me. So this is something simple but useful, right? It can be useful for you. For example, you do not want to bother if your machine is not running. Okay, your machine is not running. I do not want any data. So you can use that predicates where if machine is speed is 0, don't give me any analytics, right? Because I do not want to see the data, for example, right? So predicates are possible. You can set up predicates or logics in the cards. And what are the sources for predicates for the logic? You can get the inputs from the module. So these are the vibration, temperature, speed, whatever. You can take in external data points from DCS, for example. You can take speed and so on. Okay, so a bit more explanation on predicates. So basically, you want to know the operation state of the machine, whether your machine is running, whether the pump flow rate is close to nominal, whether the turbine is fully loaded, and so on. And then from this information, then you want the analytics to be running, so you can decide better, right? Whether it's a meaningful analytics or whether it's a rubbish analytics, right? So that's what predicates basically is for. Okay. Okay, so last of all, on the communication interface, as I mentioned, I've talked about this earlier. One of the easy way of connecting asset monitor to your computer is you can use a Wi-Fi router, right? Of course, traditionally, okay, you might need to lay cables. You have to lay Ethernet cables, or if it's more than 100 meters, yeah, you have to go for fiber optic, right? Another key important thing here, you can see you do not have to put cables out from each box, right? Because you can actually daisy chain. So one example you have, for this case, you have 4 boxes, right? You have 4 asset monitor. So you can link this asset monitor together, and from the last box, then you have to have a connectivity to your workstation, to your laptop or whatever, right? So that's one simple convenience that you might get out of this, right? We can daisy chain. Okay. And in terms of the communication of the interface, the most simple, of course, is the web interface on the web browser, which is free. Other than that, you can also get your scalar output or asset health index to your DCS if you want. You can get it to DCS via Modbus or OPC. Or if you want, PDM team wants to see more details, you want to see waveform and spectrum, you can get it, but you have to use our machine work software, right? So these are the different ways of getting data out of asset monitor. Okay. So okay, for this next slides, yeah, just some of the standard protocols in the industry. We do have all this as well. We have OPC UA interface, we have Modbus output, and so on. So these are the ways, Modbus TCP IP, right? So these are some of the common ways to get data out to any system, to your DCS, to your PLC, to your own HMI, to your historian. These are the different ways. Okay. And last of all, okay, you saw before, okay, when do I need this and when do I need this? When is it sufficient or enough to look at just your web browser? So of course, as I mentioned, MachineWorks is a software that gives more details. It gives you a common dashboard to view multiple assets. You can see waveform, spectrum, and so on. So I'll say this is good for overall, your web interface is good for overall view of your health index, right? Whereas for more investigation, for more detailed and more analysis, look at spectrums and so on, you need software. You need AMS machine work software, right? So that's a simple way to differentiate lah. When is looking at this enough, and when do you might need to look at AMS machine works. Okay, so next I'll talk more about some of the enhancements that we made over the past 1.5 years. Just a quick one. Okay, I think I talked about predicates before. Predicates is not new. Let me just skip this. Okay, another something new. We the way we export data to machine works, you can actually set it up to be more to increase basically to increase the update rate, right? Previously it was 30 minutes. Now we can do up to per minute, right? So that's one simple update rate that we enhance. Another thing that we enhance is the way that the asset monitor sends the data out to machine works, right? So maybe let me not talk more about this. Maybe this one, I'll show more on this one. For example, the waveform and spectrum, right? You can also see these plots in the asset monitor in the web browser, but the feedback we got, okay, it was too small. It was too small, right? So what we did here is we just have we can enable a larger screen basically, right? So this gives you a simple, free way to look at your FFT, right? You don't have to use AMS machine books for this. You can see this basically from the web browser. Okay. Same for the spectrum also, better resolution. You can expand. Basically, you can expand it, right? Okay. Other than that, more on the appearance lah. What you see on the browser. So basically, we make some changes. For example, let me just see which one can be. Okay. You can use these color codings if you want. You can configure it yourself, and then you can see device status in the graph range display and so on. So basically, all these are designed to make it easier for you to look at the data, basically, right? The way the data is displayed for you. Okay, and this one is I'll say is the most important one. We added fault detection details, right? For example, in the earlier versions, okay, the alignment pop up, right? But there was no indication of where was the misalignment happening. So in this new update, we provided this measurement location, right? Which bearing and which location you can see from here, right? So this is new, okay? And you can expand it to see more details. So this is something new. And last of all, maybe not so exciting. Okay, we allow OPC UA activation for LAN 1 and LAN 2 separately. So inside this asset monitor, we have two LAN output, right? So you can use both output for different purpose and so on, right? Okay, so that's the refresher or summary of the product, what asset monitor does, how it does the analytics, what is the hardware involved, and so on. And over the past 1.5 years, yeah, we have presented many times. We have talked to many customers. I just want to pick up two common, I'll say not two very interesting questions that we get quite a few times from some customers, right? So one of it is, can I install my asset monitor in the control room, right? As you heard earlier, I've always talked about asset monitor designed to be in the field, right? We have all the certification, we have all the specs required for it to be mounted in the field next to the machine, right? But some people, okay, is asking, can I install in the control room? The answer is yes, right? And we have done it before, right? You can see this. We have installed the asset monitor in cabinets or some panels here. You can see panels. So basically, in the panels, we remove the cover. We remove the door. So you can see it's open here, right? What's the reason? What's the reason why these customers ask about this? Okay, so one of the interesting proposal that we got is these customers, they already have a protection system. They already have a vibration monitoring system, but there's no analytics, right? So what they want to do is they want to take the data from the protection system to go to asset monitor, and from that asset monitor, they can get analytics for free, right? It's for free. So technically, yeah, it can be done. We can do that. We can take buffered output out from your protection system, any brand of protection system, we can take it. And then we terminate it to the asset monitor. And from there, you can get analytics, right? Another special application that why people are requesting this is this maybe not relevant for Indonesia. We experience this when we talk to pharmaceuticals, for example, or semicon industries, right? Where they want to they have to install in clean rooms, right? So what they do is, they have to take out all this, and they have to install it in some special box to be installed in a clean room. So that's another example of using asset monitor differently, but yeah, it's possible as well, right? So these are the some of the questions that we get from our customers. The second question that we always get: can I use my AMS asset monitor for machine protection? Right? That's a very common question that we get. Okay, the answer is yes, but there are some conditions that you have to be aware of. So, okay, if you recall the different cards that we have, other than vibration and temperature cards, we also have what we call the DO card, or discrete output. So the DO card, you can use it to hardwire to your ESD, or your emergency shutdown system, right? To trip the machine. You can use it actually, but be careful, because according to API 670, for machine protection, your shutdown mechanism must be within 100 milliseconds. So this is according to API 670, but our AMS asset monitor doesn't meet that. Unfortunately, it doesn't meet that. The fastest we can go is 150 milliseconds. So it's not API 670 compliant, basically, right? Because the response time is not that fast. 150 milliseconds is the fastest, but it can be up to 1 second, or even more than 1 second, depending on how many cuts you have. So that's one of the things you need to consider, that we do have the DO cut to trip the machine, but the response time is not so fast. Okay, so you can still use it as long as you're aware that it's not API 670 compliant, right? So where can you use it? You can use it on your less critical machines, if you want, right? Not on your turbines or your compressors, but on your less critical machines. Okay. So these are the two very, very common questions, and very interesting questions that we get from our customers that we have presented to throughout the past year. Okay. Okay, then last of all, we do have some interesting wins as well that we want to share with you, right? So first of all, okay, this is interesting because of the industry that we're looking at, F&B. So we're not just talking about refinery, power plant, petrochemicals. We're also getting a lot of interest coming from those non-traditional industries, right? Like F&B, pharmaceutical, semiconductor, and so on. So this is one interesting win that we had in PepsiCo in Thailand and Vietnam plant. So basically, they were looking at some analytics to help them manage the asset better, and they were looking at augury, right? And in the end, they evaluated using augury and using our own asset monitor, and they decided there's a lot of advantage. There's simpler to implement and so on, and they selected our AMS asset monitor to monitor their machines in the production plant, right? Okay, so the next one also basically was used in motors, pumps, and gearbox, basically, right? Okay, and another exciting win that we had. Okay, this is from TSMC, or Taiwan Semiconductor Company, which is the #1 semicon company in the world. So 90% of they supply 90% of chips in the world, right? So, and if you have Apple phone, most it's using TSMC chips, right? So this is a very huge company, and traditionally they were using the traditional method of route maintenance, routine predictive maintenance, using portable and so on. But they decided, this is a fabrication plant, and any type of machine is very critical. You cannot have any downtime, otherwise the loss will be in millions of dollars, right? So they need something more robust. They need something more that can give a faster result than the PDM program, than the route maintenance. So they decided to test out using our own AMS asset monitor, and immediately there were some results already. We managed to pick up some good faults that would have otherwise been missed if they use routine route maintenance. So this is again a very interesting win that we had in the semicon plant, right? Semiconductor fabrication plant. So that's another example. And last of all, also I decided to show this again because of the application. We install it in a biomass conveyor system, right? So they want to monitor bearings, right? So total of 578 bearings. Okay. So very interesting. Again, not the usual type of asset that typically you monitor, right? Conveyors, right? So, but still there's a lot of rolls there, a lot of bearings there that you need to monitor, and customer evaluated, and they decided to use asset monitor, right? And of course, it's a very big win for us. They purchased 60 boxes, 60 units of asset monitor, and so on. So that's the whole that's the background of some of the new wins that we have. And again, we are seeing a lot of interest, not just in the traditional power plant, refinery, petrochem. No, we have a lot of interest coming from F&B, in mining, and so on. So it's very interesting, basically, how we are getting the response from this kind of customers, right? So that's the new wins that we had recently over the past year. Okay, now this is my last slide. So okay, as I mentioned earlier, I also want to share a bit on the latest software that we have, AMS MachineWorks. So maybe most of you have been with us for many years, since PT Tiara brought in Emerson, or previously it was known as CSI, right? If you are the veteran here, you have heard of his CSI, and you might know that the software has been around for very long. From the time it was called RBM, right? RBM, and then we changed the name to AMS Machinery Manager. So AMS Machinery Manager has been around for very long. And recently, over the past 3-4 years, we have launched a new software called AMS MachineWorks, right? And eventually, AMS MachineWorks will be our one and only software that can communicate with asset monitor, that can communicate with 2140, that can communicate with online, our online system, and so on. So for now, it's still at the early stage. We are still on version 1.8, and the next version we will hopefully be able to connect our MachineWorks to 2140. So for now, 2140 you can still use it with Machine Manager, right? So some of the overview of asset of MachineWorks, for example, okay, we decided to change the database. So you can see this is a very big change. We are using MongoDB database, right? Instead of now it's a .rbm, right? So this is going to be a big change. And then connectivity is going to be via Thin Client. You can easily access from anywhere via Thin Client. You just open up a web browser and so on. And we're not going to be removing a lot of the good things from Machine Manager. So a lot of the information, a lot of the analytical tools will still be available in MachineWorks, like peak view, long transient waveforms, fault frequencies, and so on. And the way we want to display the data, we want to make it easier for you to have an overview of your asset health. So for example, we have these dashboards, and finally we have machine trains, right? I know a lot of customers are asking for machine train diagrams in the software and so on. So that's some of the key things that we're working on, right? So just a quick overview, right? Some of the key points. No, we have a dashboard to be able to have a quick glance at your machine health, your device health, system health, and so on. We have machine journal, which will be replacing RBM view for those of you who are using RBM view. And then we have a launch in context of important assets and so on. We can filter areas or asset types and so on. So these are some of the key points of AMS MachineWorks that, as I mentioned, it's still it's still early. it's still at an early stage, but we just want to give you a brief overview introduction that what's coming up next in Emerson. So look out for our AMS machine works, right? Okay. Okay, I think that's the end of my slide today. I saw there were a few raised hands. So Winda, I think that we have
Yeah.
some questions coming up, Winda.
Yes, Adib.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your sharing. It's very interesting. Jadi saya rangkum ya. Jadi teknologi ini memang sudah sangat paket lengkap ya, Bapak Ibu. Sudah ada auto diagnostiknya, bahkan sampai diberikan informasi next recommendation yang harus kita lakukan. Terus juga free software tanpa perlu subscription, yang memang beberapa teknologi saat ini sudah banyak yang subscription ya. Jadi kelebihan salah satu dari Aset Monitor adalah free software tanpa subscription. Lalu juga bisa remote access, bisa kapan saja dan di mana saja, dan juga sangat applicable untuk pemula karena memang bisa memberikan informasi yang hasilnya sangat jelas dan detail tanpa perlu analisa lagi. Lalu bahkan bisa juga terintegrasi dengan mudah di DCS. Jadi memang seperti nggak ada yang kurang ya dari teknologi ini ya Bapak Ibu, semua sudah ada dalam satu teknologi. Oke, Adib, before Q&A, let me asking to you first ya.
Yes.
But AMS Monitor is like mini online prediction ya.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, I think somebody already want to ask a question.
Oh yeah. AMS Monitor is mini online prediction ya. And your recommendation maybe for balance of plan only, right? So is it possible if AMS Monitor for critical equipment also?
Yeah, you can still use it for your critical equipment. As you recall, we can also take in sleeve bearing, right? So we can connect to turbines, compressors that typically will have eddy current sensors. So it's possible. Basically, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible for critical machines. Yeah.
Okay, thank you the answer. So there have been a lot of questions for you in our chat column.
Yeah.
So I will choose a few to you.
Okay. Maybe you want to ask Pak Fikir, because I saw he's been raising his hand, right, Pak Fikir?
Yeah. No. Maybe it's only
Okay.
for me, right?
Hello?
Okay. Sure. All right.
Good
afternoon.
Hello?
Hai,
Halo?
Pak Fikir.
Hai.
Ya.
Yes?
Ada yang mau ditanyakan dari mana Pak? Dari perusahaan mana? Silakan di-introduce.
Dari DIY.
Ya, dari perusahaan mana Pak?
Dari umum.
Oke, silakan ditanyakan Pak. Mungkin silakan.
Saya ingin bertanya. Ini pertanyaannya. Adakah komponen penting di dalam AMS Aset Monitor? Serta apa saja keunggulan dari yang lain? Lalu apa saja kegunaan dan fungsi dari AMS Aset Monitor bagi pengguna?
Oke, baik. Terima kasih Pak Vicky. Jadi, so Adib, Pak Vicky asking about what's the benefit of Aset Monitor for newbie or like starter engineer. Maybe you can explain.
Sorry, what is the benefit of Asset Monitor?
Yes, for a newbie engineer.
Oh, okay. As I mentioned in the presentation, one of the key things is the analytics, basically, right? So inside the Asset Monitor itself, we have 10 common rules. We have 10. We have analytics that can detect 10 common faults, lah. So it's more than just an online system. Instead of giving you overall vibration, what you can get is indication of 10 common faults in terms of the percentage score, right? So as I shown earlier on the browser, right? So that's the first question. I hope I
Yes.
answered the first question. What was the second one, Winda?
Okay. Yeah. Second question is from Sin Helen Adib asking for, can we have the polar, orbit plot, and spectrum?
Yes, it's accessible. But okay, there's a bit of limitation. If you want to look at the spectrum from the asset monitor browser itself, it's a bit small. It's a bit small, right? And maybe not so useful for you to do analytics. So if you want a proper spectrum waveform, you have to get it from AMS MachineWorks software, right? So that will require software. So that is the you can say limitation, yeah, but the answer is yes, it's possible, but you need another software to view it. Okay.
Okay. Next question is from Mr. Alan. Is the AMS as monitor tool can be used on more than one equipment simultaneously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thanks, Pak Alan, for the question. Okay. So okay, if you remember one asset monitor, how many channels are there? We have 12, 12 channels, right? So all 12 channels can be vibration. So for example, if you have a typical motor and pump, right? You want to monitor 4 points, right? Motor, drive N, non-drive N, pump, drive N, non-drive N. So for that one machine, you're using 4. You're already using 4 modules. So basically you can put in up to 3 machines inside one box. Okay. And how you differentiate it, you have to configure, of course. You configure it in the asset monitor that this is machine A, this is machine B, this is machine C, right? So it's possible. You can mix many machines inside one asset monitor, right? It's possible.
Okay, thank you, Adib. Next question from Aswin Malau. Permission to ask, sir, for the following AMS technology for indications of damage being analyzed. What level of alarm is given to analyze the damage, and at what level must the equipment be installed?
Oh, regarding alarms, okay. If you recall, also for the alarms, we use ISO, right? ISO 10816. So the analytics is based on ISO 10816 alarms. But you can also customize your own alarms, right? If you have your own database of your machine, you can put your own alarms, and the analytics will be based on that alarm that you set up, right? So it's either ISO or your own customized alarms. Okay.
Okay, next question from Mr. Nuardi from our live streaming in YouTube live. Adib,
Yes.
from Mr. Nuardi, can the peak view value be applied to all equipment even though the RPM is different?
Oh, okay. That's a very good question. Okay. So, if the RPM is different, then you will need an additional module, which is the tachometer, right? It's good to have a speed sensor as an input if your machine is a variable speed machine, right? So you're right. If it's a variable speed machine, we recommend that you use an additional card to tell the asset monitor what is the exact running speed of the machine. Okay. So yeah, that's a good question. So asset monitor, we also design it for variable speed machine, right? Because we have the tacho card. We have the tacho module to be able to take in the speed measurements, right? And using that speed measurements will be one of the data that will be used for the analytics, right? So that's the answer for that. Yeah, that we have to take in speed sensor as well. Okay.
Itulah karena kentut terus.
Okay.
Dikit-dikit kentut.
Okay, next question Adib from Rahmat Noveli. Can the AMS system work with legacy systems, or does it require an upgrade of the current infrastructure?
Maybe we need a bit more explanation. What does he mean by legacy system?
Yes,
What?
with legacy system, maybe for the software, ya, AMS Machine Works.
If you want to, who is asking this question? Maybe can you explain it more?
Rahmat Noveli.
Yeah. Pak Ratna, is it?
Rahmat Noveli.
Rahma, Pak Rahma. Maybe Pak Rahma, maybe you want to unmute and explain what
Yeah.
what
Okay, Pak
yeah.
Rahmat,
Hello.
maybe.
I'm from Translate Indonesia aja ya. Jadi
Yeah.
gini,
Okay.
AMS ini nanti bisa nggak digunakan, misalkan kita punya existing nih, menambah infrastruktur baru, atau bisa combine atau compatible dengan existing yang lama. Itu sih pertanyaannya.
Yang existing tuh apa maksudnya? Seperti apa existingnya?
Misalkan ada brandnya beda nih,
Oh,
brandnya beda,
oke.
brandnya
Oke.
beda, terus bisa nggak AMS ini masuk ke brand yang beda gitu?
Oke. Jawaban yang simple bisa bisa mix
Bisa mix, bisa nambah gitu.
bisa mix karena oke yang penting outputnya beda ya, output dari asset monitor hanya ke web browser saja ya. Jadi dari web browser hanya dapatkan data dari asset monitor. Jadi there's no integration lah between asset monitor and the legacy system. There's no integration. So we look at it as separate system ya.
Oke.
Ya.
Berarti bisa dilakukan ya?
Bisa dilakukan ya.
bisa.
Ya. Cuma mungkin soalannya tentang sensornya. Mungkin ada juga soalan dari customer kami, bisa gunakan sensor existing? Jawabannya oke, bisa. Kerana kami bisa mengambil sensor dari accelerometer, dari velocity, dari eddy current and so on ya. Jadi bisa, semua itu bisa diambil dan dimasukin ke asset monitornya.
Ya, lebih cost efektif juga ya, Pak Rahmat. Jadi memang kalau sudah
Iya.
punya
Kan
existing
lagi
sensor lebih
musim-musimnya
baik.
efisiensi ya?
Iya, betul, Pak Rahmat. Jadi tinggal kedepannya tinggal investment box as monitor aja.
Betul, siap.
Okay, Adib, last question is from Bapak Apridoni. Do you need a large space for as monitor hardware installation?
Large space for
installation? As
Oh,
monitor.
okay. You can see the photos that we have of some installation is a very small box, So you can mount it beside the machine, and it doesn't take up a lot of space because you don't have to have a separate cabinet or panel, right? You don't have. The box itself is good enough to be exposed and mounted beside the machine. So the answer is no. You do not need a large space. You just have to have a small space beside your machine, so you don't have to run long cables for the sensors, right? So yeah, so that's the reason.
Sesuai dengan gambar dari Pak Adib tadi, Pak Doni, kita bisa menggunakan rak juga, bahkan bisa disusun sesuai dengan bisa satu rak itu bisa kurang lebih 4-5 box as monitor. Jadi memang sangat efisien lah dalam penempatannya, Pak Doni, seperti itu. Okay, thank you Adib for the answer. Dengan berakhirnya sesi Q&A kita kali ini, sudah waktunya untuk pamit nih Pak kita. Namun jika kita minta maaf dan jika ada pertanyaan yang belum bisa dijawab, akan kami hubungi Bapak dan Ibu secara langsung untuk menjawab dan discuss terkait pertanyaannya. Jika ada yang ingin ditanyakan kembali maupun untuk demo teknologi, langsung bisa hubungi tim panitia yang Bapak bisa hubungi. Kami akan siap dan senang hati untuk bisa datang ke pen Bapak untuk bisa melakukan demo dan dengan membawa as monitor seperti itu. Oke, bisa lakukan spin. Oh ya. Untuk kita kan punya ada 4 partisipan yang beruntung ya Pak ya, 2 partisipan untuk yang aktif bertanya dan 2 partisipan untuk yang bisa mengisi yang sudah mengisi link feedback survei. Jadi bapak-bapak dimohon untuk yang belum mengisi feedback survei yang ada di kolom chat yang sudah panitia sediakan bisa mengisi dalam chat untuk bisa kita spin. Oke, karena spinnya sudah ada, langsung saja kita spin untuk 2 peserta teraktif bertanya. Untuk pertama dulu ya, pemenang pertama yang akan diperoleh oleh selamat kepada Bapak Rahmat Noviali. Nanti akan dihubungi oleh panitia ya Pak ya.
Siap, siap.
Siap. Untuk peserta beruntung berikutnya, untuk yang aktif bertanya, oke, selamat kepada Bapak Vicky Junianto, nanti akan dihubungi oleh panitia ya Pak ya. Oke, ternyata panitia sedang berbaik hati hari ini Pak, jadi kita lakukan spin 1 kali lagi untuk 3 orang yang aktif peserta bertanya ya Pak ya. Oke, selamat kepada Bapak atau Ibu Eki yang sudah memenangkan e-wallet dari kita, PT Tiara. Nah, sisa 2 peserta lagi nih Pak yang akan beruntung, yang sudah mengisi feedback survei, nanti akan diundi dan diumumkan di IG Tiara. Jadi bagi Bapak dan Ibu yang belum memfollow IG Tiara bisa langsung follow IG kita di @tiaravip. Nanti undiannya akan diumumkan di IG kita di @tiaravip seperti itu. Dan jangan lupa saksikan juga di webinar kami selanjutnya yang akan hadir pada tanggal 6 Maret dengan topik High Level Furnace Overview and Shear Stress Deposits, the New Challenge in Lubricants, with speaker Mr. Large Pandich from Fluitech. Ini lumayan apa buat ngabuburit di sore hari, di siang sampai sore hari kita ngabuburitnya dengan menonton webinar ya Pak ya. Selain ngabuburit ini juga sangat bermanfaat tentunya. Oke. Sudah di-share kah panitia? Nah, ini dia webinar selanjutnya pada tanggal 6 Maret ya Pak ya. Kita tunggu kehadiran Bapak-Bapak untuk bisa mengikuti webinar kita kembali di tanggal 6 Maret. Kita ngabuburitnya webinar ya Pak ya. Baik, kita sampai di penghujung acara. Terima kasih atas perhatian dan kerjasamanya. Sudah menyaksikan webinar selama kurang lebih 1,5 jam. Jika ada salah kata maupun yang disengaja maupun yang tidak, kami mohon maaf. Terima kasih juga speakers kita, Pak Adib. Terima kasih sudah join kontribusinya. Kita tunggu di Jakarta untuk melakukan demo ya, offline ya, Pak Adib.
Insya Allah.
Insya Allah. Oke. Terima kasih semua partisipan Bapak Ibu. Kami undur diri dari PT Tiara Vibrasi Pertama dan juga Emerson dari Pak Adib. Akhir kata, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bu Winda.
Terima kasih Pak.
Terima kasih.